If you're looking at more traditional forms of music like folk songs or hymn tunes, chances are you'll find this slightly modified version of strophic form appearing quite regularly, and this is something known as verse-chorus form. And sometimes it's known as refrain form. And what's going on in verse-chorus form or refrain form? Well, essentially, it's exactly the same as strophic form in that we have these repeated patterns of stanzas. We have these structures that keep going around and around right the way through the piece of music. But we have another element perhaps added in that allows us to bring a certain element of unity to what we're doing in our musical structure. What we find in most examples of verse-chorus form is alternating sections known as verses and choruses. Now in verses, what we find is the words will change every time. There'll be new words for each time we sing or play the verse, and then the chorus will come after each verse, and that will have exactly the same words every time. I guess it just allows us to keep bringing back a certain idea each time at important structural points in the piece. If we have a look at this hymn tune here, we can see the verses and choruses really clearly. So this is the first verse here, this part of the hymn, and then we have the second verse here. This is verse 2, and then we have the third verse here. This is verse 3. And then interspersed between all of those, we have glory, glory, hallelujah, glory, glory, hallelujah. And this is the chorus. And this is quite important, not only for looking at hymn tunes or folk songs and that sort of thing, because actually the verse-chorus form is kind of the beginning seed of almost all pop music. If you think about any pop song, chances are at the heart of the structure will be this idea of alternating between verses and choruses. In the verse, we always have different words, and then in the chorus, it'll be like living on a prayer or I am the walrus or whatever it happens to be. But the idea of verse-chorus form is absolutely central. So it's really interesting to see how these very basic forms of music that we find in perhaps traditional styles or religious styles of music, and particularly hymn tunes, ended up getting adopted by later musicians who wanted to create pop song forms that were easy to understand and easy to listen to by their audience.